Hello and welcome. My name is Adam Griggs and I'm a Research Services Librarian here at Mercer University Library. And today we're going to talk about how to use a database called CQ Researcher. Now, before we can use the database, we first have to get to it. Now, to do that, it's pretty simple. You have to go to the Mercer University Library's homepage at libraries.mercer.edu. And then over here in the search box, you'll see a tab under for databases. And it's in alphabetical order, so we just have to click the letter C. And then come all the way to the bottom to find CQ Researcher. Now, this is a paid database, so you do have to go through it from the library's website because you will have to sign in using your MUID and password. Okay, so now that we're at the website, let's talk a little bit about what this database is. So the CQ actually stands for Congressional Quarterly, and for years and years they've been writing in-depth reports by experienced journalists about social and political issues. Now, these are extensively researched and footnoted. They've been fact-checked, and they're meant to give you an unbiased picture of the issue at large. And so in that sense, what they can do is help you get a much broader understanding of these social and political issues than you could get from, say, a newspaper or a magazine. However, one thing to note is that these are not peer-reviewed resources. So if your professor is asking you to find peer-reviewed articles, these can help you do background research, but they are not themselves peer-reviewed articles. Now, to get a sense of what type of articles they have on this website, you can just check over here under Hot Topics. Now, this little flame icon designates what they call short reports, and these are shorter summaries of some of these hot button issues. And so here we actually have on the homepage the top 10 most searched ones on the website right now. So let's click on one. Now again, this is the short report, and so even these are pretty long and pretty extensive, but they don't have the full amount of information that you can get from their longer reports. So we're going to talk a bit about how we can go about searching for those longer reports. So to find these full reports, we're going to actually look at two different methods. The first method is just a keyword search. Now, the keyword search here works a little bit different than something like Google might. So with Google, you can just ask it a question and it pulls up some pretty good results. In this instance, you want to think about what are those key concepts that are underlying the issue, those ideas that are central to the report that I'm looking for. So, for example, if I'm looking for a report on how society views genetic engineering of humans, I might start with something kind of basic like genetic engineering and see what it gets me. Okay, so in this case, the results actually got me what I was looking for. So the very first article is called Manipulating Human Genes. Now, but if we search down a little bit, you'll notice that not all of these are going to be on my topic. So in this case, U.S.-Iran relations, it picked up the engineering. Same thing with prescription drug costs. But then some of these farther down actually might be more towards what we're interested in. So patenting human genes, organic farming boom. So this is about plants' DNA, but it's getting closer to what my topic is. And if you notice as well in the results, it shows you some of these topics that these are categorized underneath. So that can help you narrow it down. But in this case, the relevancy search actually got me what I wanted in the very first result. So let's go ahead and click on that. Okay, so now that we're at the report itself, let's look at what different sections it has. One of the first things I want to draw your attention to is over here on the right-hand side, it has an issue tracker for related reports. So I'm specifically interested in manipulating human genes, but this is not an isolated issue, and it's related to a lot of different controversies or social issues that have been going on. And so here we have not only related reports, but we have somewhat of a chronology of the issue itself. And then over here, underneath the title, you'll notice that there's a question: should changes affecting future generations be banned? And this question actually helps to contextualize the entire article, because everything inside this article is going to be geared at answering this question. And then over here on the left-hand side, we have all the sections of the report. So the introduction really just sets up the problem. The overview gives you a really broad spectrum of what's going to be talked about. And then they go into the past, the present, and the future. So we have the background, the current situation, and the future outlook. Now I'm actually going to click on this next section, the pro-con section. Now, the pro-con section can be extremely helpful, especially if you're writing a paper where you have to make an argument for or against a certain position. So if you notice here, we have another question. It says, should a moratorium be imposed on human germline editing? And if we look at who's responding, we can see that they are actually experts in the field as well. So over here in the pro section, they both work at the Center for Genetics and Society. And the con section, we have a professor of biology. So these arguments are from people who actually believe what they're writing, and they can give you a lot of insight into the kinds of keywords and the kinds of issues that they're thinking about, but also the arguments that they make for their position. Now, the next section I want to talk about is the chronology. Even though these reports are extensively researched, they cannot put everything about the issue in there. And so the chronology can really show you how far back some of these issues go. So in this instance, it goes all the way back to the 1850s up to the present day. So it can give you kind of a quick overview of what are the important events that have happened concerning this issue. Okay, so that was how we search for a report. So let's look at how do we browse for a report. So I'm going to go back to the home page. To effectively browse for reports, you actually have a couple options. You can either click on here where it says Browse Reports or Browse Topics. So I'm just going to briefly go to the Browse Reports. Notice here they are organized a bit differently, so we can browse it by date, issues for related reports. You can also browse for the pro-con section. But if you're starting out, I would really recommend using the Browse Topics button. When you are browsing by topic, you can kind of explore a little bit under some of these categories. But if you are looking for a specific one, you have to think about how the report you're looking for fits into these bigger categories. So for example, if I'm looking up a report on abortion, I don't see abortion on this list. And in this case, it falls under health. But sometimes they do fall under multiple categories. Now this takes us to a submenu with more topics under health, and you'll notice that the one I'm looking for, abortion, contraception, and reproductive issues, is right at the top. I picked the issue of abortion because it can really show us more about how CQ Researcher works. So in this case, you'll notice that we have multiple reports on the same issue. So there's a number of short reports on abortion. There's longer form reports on abortion. So we have abortion debates here. We have abortion controversies right here. And if you notice here, they have the date that they were published. So if it's an ongoing issue, you will definitely find multiple reports along the same lines. So I'm actually going to click on this abortion debates from 2014. Now, abortion is an ongoing social and political issue, so it makes a lot of sense that there will be multiple reports on the same issue because abortion has been debated for a number of years. But I do just want to point out that even though these are related reports, they are asking different questions. So for example, this one from 2014 asks, will the Supreme Court impose new restrictions? But if we go to abortion controversies from 2019, the question changes to, will the Supreme Court restrict rights to the procedure? So the questions being asked are subtly different. And if you are interested in some of these bigger issues that have been debated for a number of years, I'd recommend taking a look at multiple reports to give you a broader understanding of the overall topic. Okay, that's all I have for you on how to search CQ Researcher. If you have further questions or if you need more information, feel free to reach out to a librarian. Thanks for watching.